So you're in a situation of being gang-stalked, gaslighted, teased, haunted just about everywhere you go. And if not that, you find yourself in a position of also being hit with the rugged energy weapons. Crawling underneath the skin, the constant voice to skull, the induced attacks for a reaction. And it makes matters worse from being bombarded from you know, either from these perpetrators, um, either these perpetrators or these individuals who hide in the shadows but seek to basically use remote technology in order to mess with you. One thing I want to do this video in regards about the workers of iniquity. Okay, that's what this morning's vid is going to be about. These people are very deceptive. They come off as trying to be like, a caring person, but in reality, it's just all mischief and blood. It's just nothing more than destructiveness. They don't care about anybody but themselves, and they do this for their own greed and their own shred of entertainment. They get off from this type of behavior because, well, that's just what they are. It's in their nature to do so. It's a cruel world, it is, and people suffer quite a lot. And God forbid any anointed would ever be in a relationship with an individual like that, because then you got yourself a recipe for disaster right there. Because, well, as much as they get off from torturing, they most likely would use these methods even against people they will be dating. At least that's what I believe. It could be wrong. I don't know. But this whole thing is very deceptive. The whole operation itself. The people who participate in this type of behavior are it's like this. Everything is categorized specifically. When they choose people who they want to gang stalk you, or gaslight you per se, I believe they're looking at everything that has to deal with that type of person, not just what the type of person they are, their actual perspective on things. Um, what exact are they the type of moral person who wouldn't do harm onto others? Are they the type who really actually get fun, actually have fun by messing with others, stuff like that? And I always call this stuff out as it is, because it's a growing problem. It really is. We have a scenario to where people do this too much, and they get way too ahead of themselves, and they're too caught up in this mess. And there have been instances where people did take this too far. They use YouTube as a method to do this, and they tend to pull these types of pranks on their family members, and friends as well. If you can, if they're still friends, that is, because some of them really told them, like, dude, like, you doing way too much. And it's like they just look to vent these types of behaviors out on the public, the unsuspecting public, and the public doesn't want nothing to do with it. It's okay to play a prank every now and then, but in this regard, in this type of scenario, it's far from innocent. The very act of it is designed to do harm. The very belief system behind it is that, well, it doesn't, it's not such a big deal to them, but to the person you're doing this behavior towards, that's a completely different concept. You're not taking in regard the fact that you're hurting somebody. You're not taking in regard the fact that you're not even analyzing the scenario when someone basically walks up to you. I mean, you need to really. I'm talking about the people who are unsuspecting now. You need to really ask yourself, who the hell are these people coming out of the woodwork just coming up with these random things? And where do their motivation lies in for that? You need to really ask yourself that. Do you really know what you're getting yourself involved in? And do you know exactly what these people are actually here to do? Because you may be finding yourself doing harm onto someone else, but you would never, you're not the type of person to just go off and do harm on somebody else, right? And can you really believe a word of a stranger nowadays? Can you really just take a complete stranger's word for it? Are you really, would you really allow yourself to be, so gullible to be soaked in to just being told anything and then just going along with it? Especially with the amount of deception, the amount of corruption that exists today. I mean, I don't see any other way to explain how obvious it needs to become to people, that this is these are times where there's a huge amounts of deception. There's a huge amounts of psyops going on, and it's right there in your face. And as a result of the same type of behavior, it has been the result of many incidents in the past. Let me tell you something. I believe damn near every shootout that has ever happened, every type of incident like that, or any type of thing that involved someone, basically becoming mentally unstable and, doing something incredibly reckless. I believe that just about almost every situation like that has been somewhat of a psyop operation that has been technically, disguised as someone just mentally unstable, and it's not. It's far from that. I've seen countless and countless of other incidents similar to this. A dude ended up saying, these are people who have absolutely no idea what they're going through. Now, this is where it gets to the more extreme. This is the stuff where it gets to the more extreme. All of this stuff involves both mind games, just stuff to just basically mess with you to get you in a emotional, to basically torment you, to put you in an emotional damaged state, so that you will be more liable to make mistakes. That's the whole tactic of that. But also, you should never underestimate the unknown. So you got to be very careful out there dealing with these types of people. But I'm telling you, man, these individuals who just get off from just torturing people like this, dude. The Bible says it itself. God has no forgiveness for them. It's just not there. God, it even goes as far as to say God actually, technically hates them. But I don't believe that God is a being of hate. But then again, I don't know when it comes to that. But there is a strict punishment for, for those who are like that. There is a very strict and very special punishment just for them. Very specific too. You could be going out of your way to just go to the store just to buy something, and all of a sudden, people you don't even know show up, and they're running off of a script. These people who do this are I don't even view these as people anymore. I honestly don't. In my opinion, I just don't see them as people. I don't see them as individuals in control of both their own world and their own mind. I don't see that. I see these as nothing. I see these types of individuals as nothing more than controlled, paid-off drones, basically programmed and designed to act in a specific functional way. I say that because if these people, if what I witness is is the truth, and these people do lace themselves with this nanotech, then you're programmed. There's no other way else to look at it. So it's best it's best to never react to these gang stalkers, because in the end you're gonna do nothing but stress yourself out even more than the actual act that they're doing to try to stress you out. And also, at times, it's very, you really gotta not respond, because the whole reason as to why they're doing it in the first place is a distraction. to basically increase trauma in order for for the trauma-based mind control. It's all for PTSD. They will heavily psyop you and heavily target you when it comes to this, and they always do that specific thing, always in order to trigger trauma. I may be basically putting myself at risk out here by talking about this, but I feel it's necessary if anybody else is going to be able to defend themselves from this. Okay. So, as a result from when I was working, right? Back when I was working at my older job. Now, I've told this thing countless amounts of times. Most of you already know. But this is just for the people who have yet to hear this. Because I know I definitely talked about this on the Mischievous end too, but I don't think I talked about this part on this channel. Maybe parts and bits, but that's also going like way into my past and stuff. But that's completely unrelated to what I'm about to talk about now. Okay, so the first thing that happened when I was basically working there is that there was constant amounts of unusual, these females making very unusual passes at me, right? I didn't mind it at all, but it came off as very odd and very untrustworthy. So, and if you're wanting to know what I'm getting at, basically some of these females just kept going out of their way to follow me around and also ask me, if I need a ride home. One of them even admitted that she was basically following me around at the freaking mall. Okay? If that wasn't creepy enough, I don't know what is. And that got me to the point where I had to get advice from my other female just to figure out what was going on. And she told me to just stay the hell away from that because that was obviously a setup. So I did that, but that particular woman got so creepy to the point where I said, F it. I addressed the scenario with the supervisor, and that was that. She went off and dated somebody else. I think she tried to get me jealous at one point. I don't know. Maybe I just misread the situation. I don't know. But that, as long as she's leaving me the fuck alone, that's all I cared about. And again, just to set the record straight, I never dated my job. I don't believe in doing that. I don't believe in mixing your career with relations like that. That's just me, and I am free to basically live my life as I see fit because it's basically my damn life to choose, right? And it's the same way as your life to choose. You have the right to choose whether you want to freaking date somebody or not. Because that is your life, whether you want to open that door up to them or not. That is your choice. It doesn't matter what the hell a complete stranger thinks. That is your choice, and you basically got to be very dominant when it comes to that. Okay. So fast forwarding after that, there has been other scenarios to where these females are just getting very unusual, and it's becoming very obvious this shit is a damn setup. One of them goes out of her way to basically immediately just basically walk directly in front of me, trying to bend her ass down. Entire shoot, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna turn over here. Why? Because I'm on cameras. It's not that I don't find it appealing. It's just the fact that it's just an obvious setup for a trigger for them to try to say, oh well, this is sexual harassment. But I didn't do anything. If you wanted to know just how strange this crap got, even at the beginning when I first started working there, on the actual day of the exercise exams, where we had to basically work on the equipment, there was a supervisor woman there who was basically just keeping an eye on stuff, right? There was. And dude, this is so fucking weird because she intentionally parks herself in front of me, but she crosses my line of view. If she hadn't, I wouldn't have seen this happen. So she crosses my line of view as I'm watching people basically do the testing on the machines, for pointers, right? And she just stands still and starts backing up, right? And I'm like, what the fuck is she doing? Because she does this several times, and it's getting to the, at first I wouldn't even bother moving, but, she started getting way too close. So I decided to basically step to the side. Now, I talked to some people online, you know, a guy who was married, and the reaction I got, I'm like, are you fucking serious? And it was completely stupid. Like, I'm like, this dude is obviously a fucking simp. This dude is a damn simp. And so, okay. So, I mean, what the hell was I supposed to do? Just stand there and let her back into me like that? Is that it? I think, now, understood, they called me a creeper because I said I moved, right? It was because I moved out of the way because I wasn't finna have her bump into me, right? So I'm supposed to be a creeper because I moved out of the way, and just because she chose to. Did I basically make her do that? No. Did I tell her to do that? No. I didn't say anything like that, and she chose to do what she was doing. I just so happened to notice it, and then I just so happened to just move out of the way. You think that's as bad as it gets? No, it gets even much worse. Now we get to the scenario where they realize these tactics are not working on me, and they desperately try to even get me in an argument with the woman, and that didn't even work out. If anything, I pissed her off, and get this: that minute after, her little stunt didn't work, where did she go? Directly to the outside office, not the supervisor's office. The person who she should report to is the supervisor. She didn't go to the supervisor. She went to the other office where them damn truckers and people are at. A supervisor of the truckers. That's not our supervisor. That is the supervisor for the truckers. Why the fuck would she be going there? Right? It makes no sense, does it? Let's fast forward this a little bit more. So, when they realize those stunts do not work on me, right? Because, and I gotta really thank my mom for basically teaching me the things that she taught me, because I was able to, catch the shit as it happens. I was able to catch on to it as it happens, because I was completely mortified by how many times they would try to set a person up like this. I'm like, this is getting me to the point where I don't even want to date anymore, dude. Like, I don't even want to. I may have gave it some, second thoughts, but not if it's like this, because it's like this whole damn marriage shit. It's just a whole program to take people the fuck out, and I'm like, hell no, I'm not going for that. No, absolutely not. I started analyzing and viewing a lot of this stuff, and dude, marriage wouldn't be a bad thing, but the problem is there is just too much corruptive ties in it. There's too much. There's too much influence from the government. There's too much influence to where they're giving people to basically be able to just take half your shit. Half your shit, dude. Half your stuff. And it's like it's so unfair, because like you could have built all of that up on your own, and they come out of nowhere, you marry them, and all of a sudden they're entitled to half your shit? No, that's not fair. It's not fair. And something too, just so I basically make sure this is clear, the same thing applies to a female. If you worked your ass off to get all of that stuff and someone marries you and they want half your shit, you wouldn't want to part with that, would you? No, of course you wouldn't. Because you worked your ass off for that. You earned that, only to have someone to basically, just basically sign a document, have yourself married, and then take it. That's like them trying to scam you. You ever notice how most marriages don't work out nowadays? You ever notice that? Look, man, if you in love with somebody, you don't have to freaking be married to do that. You don't have to be married in a relationship, and like to be just to be in a relationship and to be together. You don't have to be like that. You don't need that shit. You don't. So anyway, the setups go on a little bit further. So when they realize they can't get me that way, they try to twist the narrative, trying to say, basically calling me trying to basically pass off the idea that I'm a homosexual just because I'm not falling for their shit. And I'm like, are you serious? Are you freaking serious? It gets, dude, they are so desperate to push this narrative like that. They use these weapons to fuck with my eye, and they use it to fuck with my legs, to pass off that concept, and then they send their perpetrators, right? They send their provocateurs, their perpetrators into the mix, Just so happen, it just so happens that they just so happen to show up with this specific topic while I'm walking in the store. People I never met or saw in my life. I don't know them damn people, but all of a sudden they know a whole lot of information. That's suspicious right there. That's very suspicious as hell right there. How the hell is it that I just so happen to move in a new state and this happens? You tell me. How does a scenario like that happen when you completely move from another state and you're amongst people who you don't know? You don't know. And these are the people you don't know are the ones acting that out. How does someone explain that? So, they do a lot of these methods. If you want to know an example as to how that crap happens, look at Nappy Headed Roots' channel. Man, they send these idiots towards him to do some of the most disgusting, vile stuff that should get them locked the hell up, by the way, because that's public indecency. These assholes are so desperate for money. They're going out of their way to they're basically throwing their dignity in the trash. They're going out of their way to bend over in front of a guy, and I'm supposed to believe that basically the crap that they're saying. Yeah, no, thank you. You're the type of person who basically is a huge sellout and a person who basically throws their dignity in the trash. I don't see any advice I could ever use from someone like that ever. It's just not possible. Someone who's just gonna go off their way to do that. Hell no, no. There's absolutely nothing to gain from somebody like that. No type of anything. And you know something? These are the same types of people who are doing this bullshit to me. And if they were to be told to do that, you best damn believe they'll do it because they did. At my job, and at the job I used to work at, they had a dude walk out in the middle of the hallway. There are cameras everywhere, everybody. Who the fuck does this? I know the bathroom's like right through that hallway, but I'm on my machine traveling down the hallway heading towards the next section of the warehouse. This guy's coming out from the hallway that leads to the bathrooms. This motherfucker actually walks out with his pants down. Like, dude, what the hell? I'm telling you, people, if you find yourself around, if people who are not knowing about target individuals and you're just now learning, stay the hell away from those people, because I'm telling you, they have no dignity for what they do, and they do it all for money. Okay? They do all of this stuff for money. They either being controlled or they don't care. I don't know what to tell you, but you're being involved with people like that is very dangerous. Very, because there's no telling what they're going to do. There really isn't. And in most cases, I believe that these people who pay them off view those individuals as very expendable. Even if these perpetrators don't even realize that themselves. They get themselves caught up into so much that they don't even realize just how much wickedness is existent behind all of this. And before they know it, by the time, as they were participating in this mess, they find themselves being also laced with the same stuff that they've been trying to lace us with. And I say this because I've witnessed it on several occasions. Family member of mine, I showed her the channel. I accidentally called her number. It was unintentional. I did not mean to call it. All of a sudden, this happened when I was basically, when I first found SHP's channel, right? And I'm just checking this stuff out, just basically finding all of these connections and stuff, all this equipment spread out everywhere, the GPS locations, the freaking MAC addresses, everything I could possibly need to actually expose this entire operation that's going on as it was happening. And yes, I do still have backups of this. I made damn certain to do that. Not to mention the files that I've uploaded online too. Everybody saw that. Man, dude. Man. Let me tell you something. You talk to a family member who you're trying to warn and basically help out because you know what they're doing when in regards to this whole thing, both the vaccinations and the fact that there are people coming up missing in the schools and stuff. You call them up by mistake, and they just so happen to start using scripted language, and they desperately tried to hint you off that they were poisoned, saying I didn't even ask. I was just told that, she just basically bluntly said I was not laced with anything at my job. I didn't even ask her that. And the next thing I asked her, I'm just going like, did they threaten you? And after that, the phone hangs up. I don't even get an answer. The phone is just hung up. Don't ever trust these types of people because they do not mean any well for you or anybody else. It's all greed, all of it. You want to know where the corruption is stemming from? It's because of that bullshit right there. The fact that they would fuck around with people like that. And that ain't the only time they messed with her. I had no idea at the time that I was a targeted individual, and I couldn't even make heads or tails of really what was happening as a result. It wasn't until I was walking my way all the way down when because this happened during our time of, what was that? Hurricane. No, not a hurricane, but the Great Louisiana flood. And for some strange reason, someone planted firearms in front of this old couple's house. And to make matters worse, this was right by a damn school bus stop. People. I don't know. I didn't know until now that I realized that was the damn police who did that shit. And you know something? I know it was bullshit because like the neighbors were outside just watching the entire time, and I'm like, why the fuck didn't call the cops? Why the fuck didn't call them and say something about it? To get that crap off the street. They didn't. Yeah, let me tell you what that was. They did not want to they didn't want to say anything because they knew what it was. They wanted me to call the police. They didn't want to call them. They wanted me to. Same tactic they used at the McDonald's incident. They didn't want to call them. They wanted me to call them. That's why they were pressing for time. If you noticed, if you watched that recording, if you did see it, how long it took for the staff to actually say something. Like, if that's not obvious to anybody else, I don't know what to tell you. Right? I don't know what to tell you. So anyway, I'm basically getting off topic here. So anyway, they realized that those PSYOP methods do not work on me, and I'm very perceptive on picking that stuff up. When that means I'm already gonna know exactly what it is, but at the same time they do it, so it doesn't work. If a woman basically is doing something odd, and she does something that does trigger you, do not follow her, okay? Don't. Because this is the exact same excuse that they use, and it didn't work because I didn't do exactly what I was being claimed that I did. And basically her accusation was, oh, he approached me all what was that? All aggressively and stuff. I didn't go nowhere near that damn woman. I never did. The only reason I made sure I damn near talked to her though. I made sure I had let her know that what she was doing was very illegal and basically right in front of a damn security cam. Right? She did that shit in front of a security cam. That was intentional. That whole damn shit was intentional. But you know something? They thought I was dumb. They didn't think I knew what I was doing. And at that point, it got to a point where I had they basically opened the door for me to basically say, well, if you're basically making these accusations on me, then you basically are giving me the door, basically the open door to ask, can I see the videotapes? Because I would have to see them. And you best damn believe I was going to ask for that other dated shit too. You best believe that. Because I'm like, okay, if this really didn't happen and she accused me of this, right? Because they had to back off from that topic because it didn't work. And they didn't want me to be able to do that. They didn't want me to do that because I'm telling you, like, the whole damn thing was a damn psyop. And I could have sued the hell out of them for that, man. Out of all that shit that they did. It was constant workplace mobbing. it was just a never ending scenario, and it was just the same shit. So it's like, just because I didn't want to fucking be set up, I gotta be labeled as something I'm not. Fuck that. Fuck all of that, man. No, absolutely not. If you know something, the day I find myself a woman is gonna be the day God intended that shit to happen. Until then, I'd rather just remain single, in my opinion, because of this crap. That's just me. But I know for a fact it's not really in our nature to be like that. You know, I may be a MGTOW, but it's not in our nature. You know, us as men supposed to be with the woman. That's just how that is. Women, as they are supposed to be with a man. That's just the way God intended it to happen. But you know something, as long as you're with somebody you love, that's all that matters. Whether someone choose to do their own thing, look, that's up to you, and that's up to God to judge you. I'm not getting it. I'm not basically having no say so. The only thing I have to say and ask is, don't do that shit towards me, okay? Don't try to come off that way towards me. That's all I'm asking. And I'm telling you, dude, they send these perpetrators out here to do some of the most, again, they do some of the most stupidest stuff. And I'm gonna list it down too. These people have gone out of their way touching themselves in public. They have done that. They have intentionally did complete public indecency. They have done so much, it would make your head turn. And it's just like, if you've seen even half Nappy Head of Roots' channel videos on his channel, you'll be like, these people who are doing this, there's something, dude, there's something really wrong with them. There's something really wrong with them. And that's what, it's videos like that I use when it comes to these idiots who are trying to discredit target individuals. Because I'm like, okay, you don't believe this shit is happening? You don't believe this is actually a real thing, right? Okay, check this out. And then we got the content that we also found out that we were able to expose these ASN numbers or whatever, and all this other stuff that's going on, to also further connect the whole damn thing of what's really happening. And even more so, there's another tactic out there. I have yet to try it, but I do indeed have the equipment for it. If you're being assaulted by directed energy weapons, you can basically get yourself a waterproof microphone. Make sure it's on. You're biting down on it. You can do this either when you're sleeping or something like that, right? And have this thing being recorded by a device. From what now I don't specifically know this target individual, and I've not even seen his channel, but he was on a live stream of Miss SHP's channel. The app he was using was called Redvox, and you can use Redvox to record infrasound from what he said. So, by him using these methods, he was able to get the perpetrators' voices who were attacking him with these weapons, their actual voice, and be able to link that to their identities. And I'm pretty certain they do get super pissed because they don't ever want to be found out. The people using this equipment don't ever want to be seen. They don't want you to know who they are. No, absolutely not. They want to be incognito because they are super scared of the people they fucked with too. It isn't just you. They've effed with other people. They have definitely effed with other people, and they don't want those people to know who they are. We are, something. It's a good reason why I uploaded that Metal Gear Solid 2 video. I did it because if you watched it all the way to the end, you would have noticed that it said, the Patriots are in fear of a huge amounts of, data exposure. That's just exposing the entire operation for what it is. Information that they desperately tried to suppress. We're getting to the part to where they have to, lean off of suppressing certain information. And this is why we're seeing some stuff come up now as a result. Some stuff that they didn't want you to know about, information that was suppressed. And, it's just getting to the part to where they also are trying to implement a new control system to where they can basically just maintain their positions. That's what it is. They want to maintain the control positions that they have. But in regards to this other crap that I've been going through, dude, it's just been the whole same concept. Like they'll send goons out of nowhere and they'll come up with this topic. But hold on. I'm not gonna react and I'm not gonna engage. Why? Because I use this simple perspective. Did I put these individuals up to this? Let me check. No. Did I pay them off to do this? No. Did I ask them to do this? No. What was my specific purpose coming to a store or going to a store, right? So that in terms my direct prerogative and my direct on my business on why I'm there. I didn't go there to hear anybody's basically hear an explanation, hear some bullshit a complete stranger who I do not know has to say. And by the way, someone who acts as if they know you, have people who believe their gullible bullshit. Have you never heard of a fucking stalker before? I'm sorry, I just don't know what else to call that. Like, have you never heard of a stalker? And have you never heard of reverse psychology? Like, come on, man. That's been around for years. Both reverse psychology and stalkerism, especially peeping toms, too. All of that has been around for so long. All of that has. It's not rocket scientist. That's been around for quite some time. And that's exactly what this is. There's a stalker using gaslighting tactics in order to get, a favorable outcome of the situation. It's the bullshit is meant to draw you in when they do this. It's meant to draw you in. It's meant to get you to engage, to basically deal with them. I walk the fuck off. Because why? An opinion of a stranger means nothing to me. If I was looking to impress somebody, it's gonna either be a damn female or the person who I work for. That's it. Okay? That's it. If it ain't one of the two, and you're just a complete stranger who I do not know, I'm not finna waste my time with you. No. Because what the hell do I gain from that? And you see, that's exactly my point. What the hell do you gain from that? They basically send provocateurs to basically psyop you, to draw you in, to set you up. Don't fall for this crap. Don't. Because it's just bullshit. All of it. You don't have to waste your time on these idiots, but at the same time, this is why I tell fellow TIs, man, wear a shirt, wear a hat that basically basically guides people to specific YouTube channels or some type of content that they will know what's going on, that they know it's all bullshit. Because we need to further, basically boost awareness about what's happening. People are just being told any given thing, and they're just running with it. They don't even know they don't know that people are being tortured. They don't know that people are basically being manipulated, being mind read and mind fucked every damn day. They don't know this. They don't. And they probably don't even have any fathom of idea, and I hope I use the right word. They probably have absolutely no idea how painful this is, having to deal with this on a daily basis. It's not fun. It isn't. It's torture. Nobody wants to go through this from day to day, man. Nobody does. Dude, you got sleep deprivation, you got constant manipulation, constant voice to skull, directed energy attacks, burn marks, you name it. And if you ever manage to fully get yourself free from this, you better have eyes in the back of your skull, because I'm telling you, as well as you got yourself free, they're going to be just as desperate to get you back on. They're going to be just as desperate to get you back on. And I'm going to share a video with you all to show you exactly what I mean, because I don't think I uploaded it, but I will. Dude, like, this whole damn thing is just a complete corruptive scheme to just... And you know something? This is why human trafficking has never stopped. It's because it's run by our own damn government. And people who would basically, want to do the right, who would be the type of people who would just want to do the right thing, they fall for the government's bullshit trap, thinking they're doing a good thing, but they have absolutely no idea what they're getting themselves involved in. They have absolutely no idea. And you see, that's the point. That's why they go off and says, don't ask questions, just do what we tell you to do. That's exactly what it is. This is the whole same concept with the police, order followers. Same concept with the military, order followers. Don't ask questions, just do what we tell you to do. It's just been the same shit, and that has been the problem. That has caused people to not question their reality. When you don't question your reality, clearly there's a problem. Because if you can't even question your own reality, right? And you're acting as if questioning it is such a big big problem, because that's the issue. That's another issue that we got. People who just want to just view things as, just normalize everything in their own perspective. We are far past the 21st fucking century, okay? We are way far beyond that crap. People really need to abandon that kind of mindset, because what you thought was normal has been a complete effing psyop. All of it. The whole damn thing of it has. You have no idea how much technology has gotten advanced. You have absolutely no idea what you're doing when it comes to basically discrediting people who are actually trying to put an end to something that could very well become a problem for either you or your loved ones. In the end, that person has absolutely no damn idea what they're talking about, and they're using 21st century knowledge, a mindset, in order to try to basically normalize something, to come up with a conclusion. And these individuals basically mark themselves off as experts. They're not experts. They're not experts. No, they're not. It's either they have absolutely no damn idea what they're doing, or they're just complicit with this, and they're just collecting a paycheck. But what about the people who have lost their lives? What about the people who suffered? People die from this mess every day, dude. Every year. Someone's losing their life as the end result. And it is not a fun thing to go through this. Not for anybody. It isn't. I've had to deal with so many things, but what I go through is nothing compared to what other people have gone through. There's a target individual in Japan. Dude, he has been threatened with weapon brandishing. There has been people doing constant stuff to his home. And I mean, like, they don't even try to hide it. They do it, and they just do it for him to even record everything. They do not care. They've destroyed property. They've egged his house. They've stoned his house. He's called the cops numerous amounts of times, but it still happens. Here's my question. Why is there not a police officer patrolling the street to prevent it from happening in the first place? Why? Because the police are involved. That's why. They know exactly what's happening, and they let it happen. That's just how desperate they get to basically implement post-traumatic stress for trauma-based mind control. That's what this is. You want to know the real, and you want to know something? You want to know the real problem on why we have so many different categorized types of criminals? It's because of this damn program, man. It's because of the fucking program that exists to basically manipulate the structures and behaviors of many people. That's why. That's exactly why. When people help out these gang stalkers, they're helping the very organization that creates that shit in the first place. That's what's happening. You want to get rid of that? In that damn connection with them, and start basically helping to put a stop to this damn organization that's programming people. Because that's why this shit is happening. People are being programmed through subliminal messaging through the televisions. You don't believe me? I want you guys to do this today when you got time. Check out the sexual innuendos in cartoons. Check that out. And just see not just the types, but exactly how many and how far back this stuff goes. At first, I thought it was, kind of humorous. Maybe the kids just didn't understand what it was. But then I got, it was getting way too far into like left field, and it's gotten to the point to where, okay, this is no longer just just a practical joke anymore. This is becoming very much of a problem now, because now, it's just kids are very, dude. At that age, people are very impressionable, man. And to, if you were, if you know that that's what's happening, then you wouldn't want your children to be exposed to that. You would not. I don't ever, as I mentioned before, I don't ever intend to have children of myself. I mean, I don't intend to ever bring any children of my own into this world or whatever, because of everything that exists. Uh, adrenochrome. If you look into what that is, you would understand what I'm getting at. If you've seen all the connections of all this plots and stuff that they've been coming up with, how they can basically just take your kids directly from the schools without even giving you no consent, or even not without even getting your consent, or even alerting you of it happening and not even having to tell you where they're going, right? I'm not, and especially with me already being in the situation, dude, I'm not doing that. No, no, hell no. It's not. It's bad enough that I have to suffer from this mess, but I'm not finna bring another life into this world to have to deal with that. Not on my terms. No. It's different if you don't know about this mess that's going on. It's different, but I do feel bad for those who still don't know, because they, whatever they don't know about, their own offspring may have to suffer for because of not knowing. But we can't be in a point of despair. We can't be in a point of giving up. We need to really see the value that you truly hold and see how strong you are. Just look at my situation as an example. Look at, from all the stuff I've told you, right? From all the crap that I had to deal with. But I'm still strong. I've still survived, and I'm still hanging in there. It's not an easy thing. And a lot of TIs do tend to lose their lives to this mess. People have committed suicide as a result of this, just to end it. Just to end it, dude. Just to end it. As a guy, I'm not as easily intimidated, but I can only imagine what the females are going through. I can't even possibly imagine. I really can't. Because they're mostly in a position to either and it's very unfair because they do these tactics so that you can't, they try to structure this stuff to where you cannot own a firearm, and the most you can do is manage with is at least mace. That's one of the main things they always try to do, because they did try that tactic on me quite a lot back when I was in the city. That reminds me of a few things too. Get this. The same day about that woman who I told you guys about, who basically basically tried to accuse me of approaching her aggressively, and then they looked at the cameras and they said, "Oh well, like we see that this didn't happen, so it was just a misunderstanding." How the hell is it a misunderstanding when she's making a direct accusation? And I know for damn well I didn't approach her. Get this, and this happened the same day when they were ready to talk to me in the office. They had two guys, these same people are the types of people dressed coming from those insane asylums, right? Much worse. There's another subliminal message about this crap too, because they send one of the vehicles up to where I used to live in my very old apartment a while back after I moved out of my cousin's place. They had one of these vehicles that was from this St. Louis. I'm like, what the hell is this vehicle doing all the way out here in the middle of the damn morning? It just didn't make any sense. I'm like, you never see vehicles like that. And like, there's a rare occurrence to really just be able to see one just sitting there. Do you ever see a vehicle that had, that's like in the shape of a van or whatever, anything like that says insane asylum, or the local asylum or anything like that on the side of it? No, you would rarely see that. You would rarely see that. And to see one just sitting there in the morning, like, that doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right at all. And I don't give a fuck. Even people who are discrediting TIs would most likely say the same thing, or unless they would lie. But anybody in their right mind would also tell you the same thing. You would not normally see nothing like that. So, let's go on a little bit further. I call a taxi driver, right? And they did start fucking with the taxis. They would have them set the scenario up to where You know, they would say they were showing up, but they would never show up. And they would always, it was to a point where they were turning the taxi drivers into perpetrators. And what really grinds my gears and pisses me off is that, dude, didn't we see a huge fight between both taxi drivers and Uber drivers? I mean, I didn't have as much of a problem with the Uber drivers as I did with the damn taxi drivers. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, I don't, and they're getting pissed off. Well, maybe you should stop. Maybe some of you should stop fucking with people. Okay, I mean that's just a common thing. When you start fucking with citizens like that, and you see changes, again, when you start fucking with members of the community like that, and you start screwing with people like that, um, yeah, I don't think people are gonna really want to deal with you after that. Remember, and you know this happened before too. It was a situation to where this pizza guy went to this place of business. It was like it was like a dealership, and it was some type of misunderstanding that happened, but they took it way too far, and they just kept fucking with the guy, and it was just terrible what they did to him. Right? It was very terrible. What happened as a result? That entire business seen a complete fluctuation, a complete plummeted fluctuation in their sales. And everybody was just, a lot of people were aware of their bullshit because that video went viral. Be careful who you mistreat, man, because like that kid, that's not a good thing, dude. Especially if if the public is very caring. You can't always, but that's a rarity. It's rare to find it because damn near in every state, in every city, in every town, there's going to be gang stalkers around, always. Um. So the other incident that this stuff became way too obvious, and this is very illegal for them to do this too, and I'm calling it out for what it is. This woman dressed up in scrubs who actually, you know, was working for a taxi service. She tried to use scripted. It was scripted. The whole damn thing was scripted, and I made damn certain that I had the whole damn thing monitored too, and recorded. So anyway, what happened is that some words get exchanged, no type of curse words or anything like that, but it's scripted language, and I'm very careful as to say not to say certain things because I know for a fact what they were doing. So I want people to understand what this is. I'm not in a doctor's office. I did not show up anywhere for an examination, and I did not sign any documents for me to be examined by anybody. Okay? And I didn't accept any of my other family who was in the area as my legal guardian. I did not do that. No. And I never gave consent to it either. So, a woman in scrubs who just so happens to take care of people who are mentally ill just so happens to be my damn taxi driver, huh? Interesting. If not very specific and deliberate. So she tries to stir up a conversation, right? Referring to a family member of hers. I'm not related to this woman, okay? Just so it's known. And she goes on talking about something, well, yeah, like he's mentally ill, this, that, and the other. I'm like, this, like, lady, you must be either you don't know what the hell this is, or you're just complicit in fucking with people like this. Like, what is, like, people, money is not worth your soul, man. It is not worth your damn soul. This collateral bullshit is not worth it. But you want to know what they do? They basically program you to want that stuff so much. They program you to be as greedy as you are. And they do this crap so that you would actually work for them to get that shit, man. That's what it is. This whole damn thing's a program on everybody. Everybody's basically being experimented and used in some amount of way. Some of us are just stronger than others, and they use, those weaker ones to basically get at the stronger ones. Man, dude. So that situation happens. It doesn't work. In fact, I use reverse psychology on that scenario, and she doesn't sense it at all. But let me tell you something. It got a point to where they had to call her. They had to call her directly as a result of what was happening, because they did not like where that conversation was going. So they couldn't use it. They couldn't use any of that. Um. Anyway, it gets a little bit farther, and I think like that was about it that they used those tactics for. They haven't necessarily did any more than that, but they kept trying to perpetrate a situation to coax me into calling the police. And you see, that's where you got to realize that's the line of deception there. They want you to call the police because remember, the police are in on it. They know what to expect. They know that you're gonna call them. Don't fall for this. Don't, because it's a freaking trap. It's a trap so that they can discredit you, try to classify you off as mentally ill when you're clearly not, and then use that against you. They don't want you to be able to own a firearm to protect yourself. No. They want to be able to just send these perpetrators towards you to do whatever. And I'm telling you, to the individuals who can't even protect themselves, they go through the worst of it. Just from what I've witnessed, they go through the worst of it, the worst of the worst. And it's just insane how these people act. They do some of the most vile acts, man. Some of the most disgusting, vile acts you would ever think of, and there's absolutely no end to it. It's a complete perpetuating of the whole thing. And again, they basically use people's misconception against them. They use the fact that they don't ever think for themselves. These types of people never think for themselves. They don't. They rely so heavily on the system to survive. I was ready to both leave both town and immediately abandon the system and this grid altogether, to just live off the land and just be done with it. But I guess God didn't really have that in the cards for me, and I got led to where I'm at now. Dude, like, this TIs who are not aware, and people who are newer TIs who are dealing with this madness. Don't be fooled to believe that the cops are going to help you, because they're not. They're involved, and they do know what's going on. However, from what I've witnessed, there are some cops who are not involved into this corruption. There are just cops in the department who are complicit with this program, and they're basically causing other police officers to not be able to intervene and do anything. That's the problem there. They're coming from the academy. Who knows if there's corruption in the academy as well? Who knows about that? But there's definitely corruption in the department stuff. There really is. And there's you got to understand, there's a section of cops that are not corrupt, and there's a section that is. But it doesn't rule out the fact that any cop doesn't have the potential to become corrupt. It does not rule that fact out. There was one cop who basically said, he wasn't gonna, follow through with the bullshit that the government was pushing for, and what the governor was pushing for. What happened to him? This was an actual sheriff too. He wasn't finna enforce his officers to basically enslave the citizens. He wasn't gonna do that. He made a public video about this. What happened? They removed him from his position. What the hell is up with that? People who actually speak out and speak up get removed from their positions. Doctors who do not want to participate in unethical means and cover up for unethical means, and signing over for shit and getting people hooked up on something that they don't need and shouldn't have, lose the, and also speak out about certain terms, lose their licenses. But people who can just go out on national television say that if Biden doesn't become president, America will burn. People like that are allowed to do that shit on TV. Dude, again, that's an act of terrorism. So people are allowed to basically just lie on television. And what I mean by this is these news broadcast stations are allowed to have the same scripted link, same script of every same thing that they are saying. They're allowed to do that? Really? Honestly? Because last time I checked, it's not supposed to be a medium or a media controlled by the same damn company. So it seems rather odd, doesn't it? This whole damn shit is backwards, dude. The whole thing is backwards. I've learned quite a lot, but I'm gonna make one thing clear, and I believe I speak out for everybody else who's in the same scenario that I am. I've always loved women, but I'm not gonna freaking get into a relationship until I damn well choose, until God actually guides me to the woman that I am destined to be with. Until that day comes, I intend to remain basically single. I don't intend to fall for their crap, and I don't intend to fall for the reverse psychology in order to get myself set the fuck up. No. Period. I see through that deception. I see it for what it is, and I know exactly what it is. And I don't expect, excuse me, I don't expect anybody else to fall for that either. But unfortunately, there have been people who have fallen for this, but you know, they went out of their way to tell everybody else about it too, as a warning. And I'm gonna tell you what these somethings are. These somethings are basically scenarios to where they put people up to try to date a targeted individual. And as soon as the relationship, started to feel comfortable, they told them to break it off. No explanation, just leave. Why the hell should I invest myself in and waste my time with something like that? Why the hell should any female TI waste her time with something like that? And that's why it's not worth it. It's not worth putting yourself out there on the line for some stupid mind game of what these workers of iniquity do. It's not worth it. It just isn't. None of it is. So, it should be quite obvious what I plan on doing. I'm going to try to see if this method works. I will. If it does, I will be more than happy to post it on here for you all to listen in for yourself. Just to basically see what's going on and see exactly what it is. Other than that, I believe I said my piece on this video. But I can only, I really send both my love and my prayers out to all of you, because, a lot of people are going through some pain out there. A lot of people are. A lot of people. It seems like this corruption just seems to just find new methods to just hurt people, new excuses to hurt people on its own terms and for its own, in its own little sick and twisted, perceptive way. Growing up, I've never bought into the peer pressure, and I never wanted to be a part of a group that was basically, mind controlled in a way, or just completely programmed. I just didn't feel like I belonged when it came to that. And I believe that was God protecting me the entire time. I've endured so much pain, so much torment. I've been beaten down, I've been knocked the hell out so many times. But God has been there by my side through all of it. Even when I'm at risk of these bastards trying to program me too, just as well as they're trying to do that to so many other people with this technology, God is, crying out to all of us. Stay strong. Stand your ground and never give up. Never let them douse the flame that has been lit within you. Stand up for yourself. I hope for the best of all of you, and I pray that all of you, every single one of you, that your day goes well. As always, minus the targeting. Stay safe, stay strong.